Well, hello and welcome to episode 89 of Drink the Movies. I'm Brian here, as always, with Michaela. Michaela, you and I ventured out to a fine local theater this week, the Independent Picture House in Charlotte, North Carolina, to see a new movie. This place just opened. It was awesome, and I thought we should tell everyone about this movie because they need to go see it.
That's right. They absolutely do. It's amazing and very heartfelt. And yeah, it's called Marcel the Shell with Shoes On.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So this movie, it came out a few weeks back. We talked a little bit about wanting to go see it, and we did go see it. And we thought we would just take this intro to just tell everyone, yeah, it was really nice, and we really liked going to this little independent movie theater. So if your town happens to have one of those, definitely go and pay them a visit, see something you might not normally see, because that's always a good idea, especially coming out of the trying times of the last couple of years. So make sure you're visiting those places because we love to see them sprouting up and doing well and staying open. And definitely, you might get to see a gem like Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which was an excellent film. Excellent film. Hopefully, it gets some sort of Oscar love because I would really like people to get out and see it, maybe for writing or something like that. So I don't know, but it was really good, and they had really good drinks at this movie theater. Michaela,
Yeah,
I had a really good craft beer, local, which was nice. That's not something you get at the big movie theater, and you had something cool.
I did. They had Prosecco on tap.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Everybody just needs that. We talk a lot about supporting our local businesses. Can't get more local than like a independent movie house because by definition, they're independent. They're not making a lot of money from distributors. They're just trying to
Right in the
make
name.
it
Right in the name.
right in the name. And so you definitely should go support them. Then probably they have the ability to do something like this, right? Where they had lots of cool beers. They had Prosecco on tap. I'm going to say that one more time for the kids in the back. They had Prosecco on tap. So you
That's
could
right.
literally just go and get like glasses and glasses and glasses. It really inspired me to get like a Proseccoator, a
Yes, that's
Prosecco
true.
kegerator. I was like, man, that's a great idea. And then of course the angel on my shoulder was like, that's a horrible idea. Don't do that.
I don't know.
And so
We left the theater, and Michaela spent the next 2 hours researching how to have her own prosecco on tap at her very own house. So, yeah, I can confirm that, and can confirm that going to your local theater is awesome, and definitely make it out to see Marcel the Shell with Shoes On because that was a really good flick. It definitely pulls at the heartstrings. Has a lot of good life lessons in there. Very cute, very adorable. And a good time. So go check that out. But what else? Did you been watching anything else this week, Michaela? Other
so I
than
got
other than the movies, or
I got into a new series. It's on Apple TV. I don't think we've
mm-hmm,
talked
mm-hmm.
about it because I think I've just started it pretty recently. It's called Blackbird,
Okay.
and it's starring Taron Egerton. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. And it is a true crime drama, and it's really good. I will say that it also has it had Ray Liotta in it, so this was one of the last things Ray Liotta did before his untimely
Oh, okay.
passing.
Mm-hmm.
But it stars Greg Kinnear, it stars Taron Egerton, and the amazing Paul Walter Hauser. If you don't know who that is, he is a character actor who was in I, Tonya. He was the star of Richard Jewell. He was in Cruella. He was in Queen Pins. He is
Oh, okay.
this kind of character actor gem that I love to watch. And I didn't even know he was in it. But he is fabulous. So if you like true crime, this is kind of a slow burn. It's not an action true crime at all. I'm about halfway through it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very gripping, and it is based on a true story. It's hard to kind of watch because you have what's happening on the outside of a prison versus what's happening on the inside of a prison. It's got some really interesting kind of story arcs, but it's
Mm-hmm.
very good, and I totally recommend it.
Okay. Very good. Very good. That's available on Apple TV
Yes.
Plus, I believe. And
Yep.
we've been watching something on Apple TV Plus as well. We finally started watching Severance, which was nominated for, I don't know, like 1,300 Emmy Awards. So it's finally time to watch that. It's kind of like an extended episode of like Black Mirror. It's like this very like technology, kind of creepy what your business is doing in terms of controlling your brain and playing with your memory. So it's I don't know, it's very unsettling, but it's really good. So definitely if you're into some sort of kind of, I don't know, it's not even like a workplace drama. I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe, but definitely check it out. It's worth your time, and obviously it got all the nominations, so pretty critically acclaimed there. So check those out. Check out Apple TV Plus. Check out Ted Lasso, and check out Coda. All the good things you can get on Apple TV Plus. So do that. But for now, Michaela, we need to take a quick break and make up this week's cocktail because A, it's delicious, and B, our train is about to leave. So let's take a quick break, and we will be right back.
So this week, we're mixing up a cucumber sake delicious concoction that we are affectionately going to call the Bullet Train.
That's right. Yeah. I found this recipe on, I think it came from like a script that we came across from one of Rick Bayless's TV shows, the chef there. But yeah, this concoction called the Bullet Train calls for some cucumber sake, which sounds delicious. We really both like sake, but we've never done much in the way of like cocktails with it other than going to the hibachi restaurant and having multiple glasses of it. We've done that, but we've never done the cocktail, and Bullet Train seemed right for this sort of a cocktail. And can confirm was delicious.
So there's a couple of different, a word on sake, right? There's cold and warm. What we got, I would consider cold sake. So you can put it in the fridge. You don't have to, but yeah, it's not cloudy or anything like that. There's a lot of different kind of sakes, and I'm certainly not an expert. Can't speak for Brian, but I'm not an expert. So I found just a good, I went to my liquor store and I said, I just want a good bottle of sake. Now this calls for cucumber sake. So what I did was,
why don't we let's run through because there's a couple of ingredients here that are going to be need some explaining. So why don't we run through the recipe and then we'll go back and kind of address each of the ingredients there.
Sure. So we've got cucumber sake, we've got Aperol, we've got ginger syrup, we've got pineapple juice, and then chili tincture. Thai chili tincture, not just any chilies, although we can talk about the ingredients and how hard it was to find Thai chilies in the middle of summer. I guess that's a thing. But Thai chili tincture, which is a great name. I love that. And then some sparkling water. And of course, you have to have a cucumber wheel garnish. If you're going to have a cucumber drink, you need that.
That's right. You definitely do need that. And putting this together is pretty simple after you track these ingredients down. Some of them you might already have on hand. Some of them you might have to go search out. So we're going to start into the shaker tin with 2 ounces of the cucumber sake. So like Michaela was saying, you go into your liquor store, you go into your higher end grocery store probably now, or your wine store, and they're probably actually going to have a fairly decent selection of sake. You might not normally look for it or think about it, but they probably at least have a couple of pretty good bottles there. And that's what you did, Michaela. You went in and just look for a good one. You can get specifically cucumber sake. They do make it, they do have it, but neither you or I were able to find it. So
right.
Tell us about what you did.
So I just got a bottle of kind of mid-grade sake. And what I did was I got a glass jar. I always say non-reactive. I don't know if sake is going to mess with metals or not. So just get a glass jar and you're always going to be safe with that. I got a cucumber. I chopped it up into some pieces, probably about 2 ounces of cucumber, and put it in the bottom of the jar and then just filled that up with sake. And then I left it for a couple of days. You can refrigerate it. I would recommend it because it's got the cucumber in there. But you just leave it for a couple of days and it will infuse. There is a way that we've talked about previously where you can do a instant infusion, but because cucumber is not a peppercorn, like with peppercorns and things that are like floury, I would say that works fine because it's a really light flavor anyway, but we really wanted to have this sink in and sit. So we left the cucumber in there for a couple days rather than using a whipped cream canister to try and aerate this. So that's how we made our cucumber sake. It worked beautifully. And now we have cucumber sake for, drinks to come.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you open the lid of that jar, the cucumber aroma and that sake kind of rice aroma hits you, and it's delicious. And you're going to take 2 ounces of that, put it in your shaker tin with ice. You're going to add a half ounce of Aperol, a half ounce of ginger syrup, which we've made here before, but to run that down for everyone, you just are basically making a simple syrup, and you're going to take a couple of chunks of your ginger, peel that, throw that in there, and let it steep for as long as you'd like, depending on how strong you want the ginger. I did about a half hour on ours. Seemed like it was a pretty good flavor profile. It just gets more intense the longer you leave that in there. So a half ounce of that, a half ounce of the pineapple juice, and then 2 to 3 drops of this Thai chili tincture. Now, to make a tincture, you basically take a high proof liquor, so vodka usually, but it could be any kind of other high proof thing. Michaela, you used Everclear for yours, which is as high proof as you can get. I couldn't find, they didn't have that in North Carolina. I don't know if you're able to get it here, but it kind of varies state to state whether that's legal or not. So I got a bottle of, I think it was 100 proof Smirnoff. So I used that, and then just stuffed some Thai chilies down into mine. You weren't able to find Thai chilies, so you use the next best thing, which is a Serrano. It's a pretty good replacement there. So you might be able to find Thai chilies. You might not be able to, but really just kind of any pepper. But you put that into the vodka, and you really want to let it sit for like several weeks. But we're kind of doing these things week to week. So ours only had a couple of days in that high proof liqueur for the tincture. But yeah, just a couple of drops of that. That was pretty easy to put together.
And then I felt that was plenty too, because you definitely only need a couple of drops. Do not make the mistake that I have made in the past with tinctures. Okay, when they say 2 to 3 drops, we mean it. Okay, we don't mean half an ounce. Don't do that. That will ruin this drink. It will not. I mean, if you like fire in your mouth and down your throat and heartburn later, then I guess it'll be great. But if that's not your bag, don't do it.
Yes, exactly. So a couple drops of that. All that goes into the shaker tin. You're going to shake that up, and then you're going to strain it into a ice-filled rocks glass, as it were. Top that with just a little splash of sparkling water and garnish it with a cucumber wheel. It is this lovely sort of pinkish orangish hue from that pineapple and the Aperol. And then you drink it and you enjoy it because it is real delicious. It is real subtle, but it is real delicious, real good.
Yeah, it's real good. I was really surprised because I loved this drink. Because it has all the things that Bullet Train has in it, right? Like it's got this Japanese flair. It's got sparkling water, which is a big deal in Bullet Train. It's got this peppery, kind of spicy, juicy kind of component to it. And it's this really weird orange color, which is great because in Tokyo, everything seems to be very colorful and like whimsical. So I was really excited about this, but I was a little concerned because, again, we're not huge sake drinkers, right? So I was like, I don't know if this is going to be too ricey but it is fabulous. And even though we ran down the ingredients, if you just if you make the Thai chili tincture and the cucumber sake and you just keep it in your fridge, you can be sipping on this all summer, fall long, and it's really not that hard to make. And it's very tasty. So if you are in the market for a good sake drink at all, you should give this a try.
Yeah, absolutely. You should give this a try. Like I said, it's a little bit of steps kind of collecting these ingredients and getting them ready to go, but then it's super simple to put together once you do get it. We did try one with just straight sake without the cucumber sake. It was still really good. I think that the cucumber added a little bit to it, and you just get that little hint of the spice there from that tincture. So really good. So definitely give this one a try. Worth your time, and of course, check out the website for pictures of ours and all that good stuff. But now, Michaela, we have our drink mixed up. We are all aboard. We splurged for first class tickets, so we are headed to first class for our train to take us out of Tokyo. So why don't we take a quick break? We're gonna mix up like 4 more of these for the ride, and then we will be right back to talk about this week's movie, Bullet Train.
Spoiler warning for Bullet Train. If you've not yet seen this film, you should stop what you're doing right now. You should go make yourself up a Bullet Train cocktail because it's really tasty. You should go watch Bullet Train, enjoy it, and then come back and we can chat about it. But definitely go do that because we are going to be talking about all the things Bullet Train, and it's a recent film. So if you don't want to be spoiled, don't go any further. And that
Uh,
is how we do a spoiler warning here on
that's
Drinking
yeah.
Movies.
Wow, that is very black and white on that spoiler warning. Yeah, if you don't want to know how this goes, probably steer clear. Just go mix up that cocktail a couple times and go see Bullet Train. It's a pretty fun ride. So, like Michaela said, it just was released August 5th, 2022. It was directed by David Leitch, who I never really heard of. He directed Deadpool 2. Which I guess kind of makes sense because it has kind of the same kind of quippy jokey bits to it, so that makes some sense. And then this one stars Brad Pitt. He is our snatch and grab former assassin. He's been taking some time working on himself. He's not really supposed to even be there today. Brad Pitt is him, and Sandra Bullock is our lady on the phone playing Maria. And then we have a bunch of other would-be assassins on this train as well, and we'll kind of get into those as we go through these. So Bullet Train, Michaela, this was based on a book, which sounds fun. Never read it. And then there was also a 1975 film named Bullet Train, not based on this book, based on a different story. But let me know if this sounds familiar to you. So there is a train. Some bad guys plant a bomb on the train, and if the train slows down, the bomb explodes.
Oh my god!
It reminds me of something else that Sandra Bullock was in.
Something exactly. No, what pop quiz, hot shot. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Yeah,
very much like something Keanu Reeves could have done very well in, and may have jump started his career again after Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Gosh, amazing, because we definitely do see a lot of things from there's a lot of similarities from Speed, which was a great film, and this Bullet Train, which is interesting because they're not the same storyline at all. But
yeah, I just thought that was interesting there in the parallel with the Sandra Bullock and that. So Bullet Train, Michaela. So we've been seeing the previews for this. We both are big fans of Brad Pitt. He always seems to do stuff that's either really, really excellent or really kind of quirky and fun. And we like both of those things. But, why did we want to come see Bullet Train, Michaela?
Because it looked like it was the funnest ride this summer. I mean, who doesn't want to ride on a bullet train? For anybody that doesn't know, a bullet train is actually a really fast train.
Yes.
And
as the name would imply,
but I've never ridden on one. The closest I've come to is the Channel, which is not nearly as fast as the bullet train.
No.
And so it's that
would be bad, probably. Yeah.
That would probably be really bad to go that fast. But the previews, I don't know who did the editing for that. They should be. I don't know if there's like a preview editing award that they give out, because they should, and somebody should get a nod for that because it looks so good. And they tell the story really nicely, where basically it's a heisty kind of actiony film. It's where everybody has a backstory, which is really nice. You don't know what the backstory is when you're going in, except for one or two of them, and then they all sort of kind of unfold. It's really a beautiful telling of a very fun kind of actiony film, which is why I'm so excited. Now I've got to go read this book because I don't know how they did that. So I'm excited about that. But we should get into all the characters because there's a lot. There's a lot going on. Yeah, for sure. So to get this movie kind of kicked off, we meet a couple players here right at the start. We're at a hospital, and we meet Kimura, the father, who's played by Andrew Koji. He's there. He's looking over his son. His son is in the hospital bed. Doesn't look that great. And then the father's dad comes in, who we find out later is going to be referenced as the elder. And that is played by Hiroyuki Sanada, who's excellent, who plays the father's dad, the elder here. He comes in and he says, we learned that the son was pushed off of this roof, and that it was the father. It was Kimura's job to protect the family. What are you doing? We need to get to the bottom of this. It's pretty wrenching. You feel bad for this guy already, having to watch his son there in such critical condition. But then we take the most egregious of cuts of all time, and we go from this sad hospital scene to Brad Pitt
walking down the streets of Tokyo to a Japanese version of Staying Alive, white shoes in the rain puddled streets. It's exactly like our favorite John Travolta movie that we talked about on Drink the Movies, way back when. But we are introduced to Ladybug, the former retired assassin, now the snatch and grab man on the phone, getting his next job.
That's right. He's filling in for some dude named Carter. Carter had a stomach bug, and so he's like, man, I can't believe I'm doing this. He's on the phone with his handler, played by the amazing Sandra Bullock. You don't see her for most of the film at all, but you talk to her a lot, and she's calming him down, trying to keep him very zen. He is really on this spiritual journey. He's like, I'm trying to do the right thing, and so I'm not going to kill anybody anymore. I'm not going to do that, but I am. Right. So I'm not going to take this gun. There's this kind of area where there's this locker space, and he's going and he's getting all of the things that he wants for this job. There's like some like kind of Chinese firecracker looking things, and there's a couple of other like watches and some sleeping powder that he continues. Apparently, it's one of the things he always asks for, but he never gets the dosage right. And so sometimes people don't fall asleep. Sometimes they die. It's kind of a toss up. And so, but what he does do is he refuses to take the gun that she has put in the locker for him. And he's like, no, I'm not going to need it. And she's like, you really should take the gun. And of course, it's this great banter between the two of them. They've got great chemistry. And he refuses. He's like, nah, I'm going to get on this bullet train. Now, the thing about the bullet trains is this is going from Tokyo to, I'm not sure what the final destination is, but it makes a number of stops, but it only stops for a minute. And that's really important. Now, I don't know how true that is, because that does not sound like enough time to get all your stuff off the plane or off the train with your kids and your life and all of that. That seems like a lot. Or get on the train. It just seems like that's not enough time. But if that's real, that's very stressful. That adds an extra amount layer of urgency to all of this, because
we're not organized enough. That's why we don't have bullet trains in America. We could not handle
that's probably true. That's probably true. But Brad Pitt's got one goal. His goal is to find this suitcase, this briefcase. It's silver. It's got this thing on the handle. He's got to find it on the train and get off the train. That's pretty much it. That's all he has to do. And which is why he's the snatch and grab man, right? But he's going to have a lot of problems, because there are a lot of other people that are also looking for this briefcase.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So he is on the train. He is looking for this briefcase. And who was in possession of this briefcase? Who is he stealing it from? That is none other than Tangerine and Lemon. Tangerine, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Lemon, played by Brian Tyree Henry. They are brothers. They are assassins. They go on a lot of jobs. You get a really fun kind of montage thing where they're bickering back and forth about how many people that they'd killed. And you go back into this flashback, and they're like counting these guys up on this job as, they're deciding whether it was 15 or 16 or something like that, but a lot of fun. They're going back and forth. They have the son of our big bad of this, who's called the White Death. We don't know anything about the White Death, but they are transporting his son and a $10 million ransom that is in that briefcase. They're trying to get from Tokyo to Kyoto, or wherever the final stop of this was supposed to be. So they're there. They're a lot of fun. I love these characters. I love their kind of banter back and forth. Talking. Lemon's going on and on about Thomas the Tank Engine and how that is like a perfect representation of all of life. That's how he learned how to read people, was through Thomas the Tank Engine. He's just going on. Tangerine's not having it. It is hilarious. But bad news for them. They lose the briefcase.
Yeah, it takes no time. First of all, I don't know about you, Brian, but if I had $10 million in cash, okay, I probably wouldn't put it in like the cargo bay area on a train where anybody can just take your briefcase. I
wouldn't put $10 in cash anywhere other than in my pocket.
It is going to be under me, under the seat, beside me. It is going to be, But anyway, for the sake of the film, that's exactly what happens. So poor Lemon goes out and tries to find it again, and can't find it because Brad Pitt has taken off with it. Now, this train is quite large. It's like 16 cars. It's 10 regular class, 6 first class. There's a couple of meal trains in there. There's a couple of bar trains that no one works at, thankfully, because it would be probably really gross. We'd have more bodies on the body count if there were people working these areas. But We also, as Brad Pitt's kind of going through this, he ends up meeting someone, the wolf, who
Mm-hmm.
is trying to get on the train. Now, I love the story of the wolf. It's very sad. This guy, he's played by Benito A. Martinez Ocasio, and he's wonderful. I love this character so much.
Yeah, that's right. We get the flashback of him. We learn that he's coming on to the train because he wants to get some vengeance because apparently Ladybug, Brad Pitt, and another assassin were there and basically ruined his wedding by killing his whole family, his whole cartel. It's bad news, and he shows up on the train, and that's when you kind of get your pretty good little fight sequence there. One of the things that I really liked about the fight sequences is obviously this is all happening within the confines of a train car, which is not very wide. It's very narrow. And I also liked that all of the fights seemed to take place within like these dining and bar carts. So,
Yeah.
They were able to use kind of the logistics of how those worked. Yeah, and you get some kind of fun stuff where they're going back and forth. Obviously there's the one later between Tangerine and Ladybug, that we'll talk about here in a second. But yeah, Wolf comes in. He's trying to get vengeance on Ladybug, but bad news. Ladybug, he keeps kind of lucking into these bad things. So first he's walking through the carts, he just kind of stumbles upon the briefcase. Wolf comes in, they have this fight, but Wolf kind of gets dispatched of when he trips and breaks his neck on said briefcase. And now what's Ladybug going to do? He's going to stash this briefcase, hopefully that it stays safe. He puts it down into like a trash can within the dining cart. Again, people are just leaving this $10 million case laying around, which seems like a bad idea for everyone. And then we meet one of the most pivotal players of this. So we mentioned, earlier, we're introduced to Kimura, the father. He gets a note saying that this is the person that pushed your son off of this building, on this train, in this seat, in this car. So he goes up the seat, and there is a young lady sitting there. We learn her name is Prince, played by Joey King. Very excellent. Right up your alley, Michaela, because she is wearing like a pink shirt underneath of a pink shirt underneath of a pink shirt underneath of a pink sweater.
She's like the Dolores Umbridge of this train. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's right. So we meet her. But she, kind of has the one up on everyone. She seems to be kind of the mastermind behind this whole thing. But Prince, love to hate her in this thing. She is so smarmy. Ugh.
Yeah, because she is very small statured. She's a woman. Women are not taken very seriously in this film. And so, of course, this guy, he doesn't get a description or a picture of who pushed his son. He just gets this location. So he goes and he sees that, this girl Prince is sitting in the seat and is like, oh, I'm looking for a man. Which, sexism, not a good thing, because she totally takes advantage of that and is like, oh, there was another person sitting in this seat. And yeah, it wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, okay. And then she gets him where it hurts. Because then, of course, we realize that it was her, and she did this horrible thing. She pushed this kid off of a roof, and you don't really know why. You don't know why until kind of the end, why she's mad, like why she's done all these things, but she ends up getting it over on Kimura. The father, he like gets shot. He's put in one of the bathrooms, and the door's locked, and he's just kind of left for dead. It all kind of it gets very convoluted. So, but she is walking around this train. She's also looking for this briefcase. She catches up to Tangerine and Lemon where they are. They have been charged with looking after this White Death's son. Unfortunately, they leave to go try and find the briefcase because they've lost it. By the time they get back, the White Death's son is really dead in a really ugly way. It's very Stranger Things. It's like 11. It's like 11 had a moment with this kid, and now his eyes are all bloody, and it's totally gross. And so they assume that his killer is still on the train. So they're looking all over the place. You see Prince kind of walk over and see him, and spit on his face. It's really gross. So you assume as the watcher that Prince is probably the one who's killed him, but you don't really know why, and it's kind of convoluted. But so now we have two dead folks, right? We have the White Death's son, who's in like this hoodie, and they've put like this pink mask, this pink like I don't know, it looks like a Teletubby, but it's not a Teletubby. I'm sure it's somebody very famous in
Something,
Tokyo.
yeah.
Somebody famous in Japan. But it's like this pink Easter bunny mask that they've got on this kid to make it look like he's still alive, because at every stop, the White Death's hired hands are there to make sure that A, they don't get off the train and walk off the train with the kid and the $10 million, and B, that everything's still going to plan, because they've got to get all the way to Kyoto.
That's right. Yeah. So all these pieces are moving, but we find out pretty quickly that, Prince isn't the one that killed the White Death's son. That was done by another assassin who has now gotten onto this bullet train by the name of the Hornet, played by Zazie Beetz. One of the things we learned about early on in the film is that there is this highly venomous snake that has been stolen from the zoo. And of course, Ladybug,
because that's not enough, right? It's not enough to have like eight of these people who want to kill you. We have to put a snake on it.
Have to have a snake on it. And Ladybug stumbles upon this snake, so we know that the snake is now on this train. We've had snakes on planes, now we have snakes on trains. But the Hornet uses the snake venom. That's how she assassinated the White Death's son, killed him, and now she's going to try to use it on Ladybug, because they come to a head. They have a fight. They both get stabbed with this thing. It's it's very unsettling, especially if you don't like needles, because she has this thing to inject the venom, and it just kind of falls and lands in Brad Pitt's hand. Pretty gross. But then he takes it out and stabs it into her, and then she accidentally gives him the anti-venom. So he is good. Actually, it's a pretty funny gag, because he gets bit by the snake later, and he's like, I already got the anti-venom earlier. Long story. It's pretty great. But yeah, so the Hornet's there. I really liked her. We find out that she was actually at Wolf's wedding too. She was the one that poisoned all of the guests, so that's why Wolf was there. So yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of like bad luck for Ladybug that he keeps kind of managing to scrape through. And that's kind of the funny bit, is that he was like, I just got to go in and get this briefcase. I'm not even supposed to be here today. Very Clerks-esque. And kind of the recurring gag of, he's been seeing his therapist because he's, a recovering assassin. He's been working on himself, he just wants to, everyone just calm down. We're putting up walls. We just need to talk this out. We can all get on with our business.
That's one of the best things about the scene between him and the wolf too, is because the wolf recognizes him from the wedding. He doesn't realize that he's not actually here for Brad Pitt's character. The wolf recognizes him from the wedding, but it wasn't him that killed his wife and his entire bridal party. So he's like, dude, I don't even know you. What is going on? Why are you so mad? Like, maybe we could just talk about this. As they're like, got knives thrown at each other, and like, cell phones are being shoved in each other's mouths. It's crazy. It's one of my favorite scenes is the one you just mentioned, though, with this needle that's like going around and they're fighting over it. And Brad Pitt, Ladybug's character, is so great, because you're right. Everything seems to be very unlucky, but it depending on how you look at it, is very lucky. Like, she had the antivenom. She had it on her because she was really smart and thought, if I ever get shot up with this stuff, I have 30 seconds to inject this. And he knew what to do and to get it himself. And then there's like this total mansplaining moment where she's dying and he's like, sorry, do you need some water? Are you okay? Are you feeling, do you want me to hold your hand? I mean, and he's like legitimately trying to be kind in her final moments. And she's like, you mansplaining jerk. So it's so funny. It's very dark, but it's super funny.
Yeah, it's very dark. It is very funny. And yeah, all the fight sequences are great. We have another really good one between Ladybug and Tangerine. They come to a head kind of in this dining car, and it's it's pretty humorous because it gets interrupted by the woman that's pushing like the snack cart as she kind of stops, and Brad Pitt buys a $10 bottle of sparkling water, which is pretty great. And they have kind of this knockdown, drag out fight as we go through, kind of this just heist story. And it's basically it's going back and forth. But there's a couple of key things here that really happen. Prince, the girl is, getting Kimura basically to rig up these weapons because she's trying to get vengeance on her father, who only ever loved their son. She feels kind of abandoned by him, and she knows that one of the things that her dad does. Her dad's a bad dude, by the way. He likes to kill people with their own weapons. People that cross him, that's what he does. So she basically is going to rig up the briefcase to explode, and she's going to rig up this gun to explode. So that way, when she finally confronts him, she knows that he's going to use those weapons back against her. That's one. And the other thing that happens, bad news, our favorites, Lemon. We think that Lemon gets shot and killed by Prince. Bad news. We don't like that. That's sad. Tangerine very upset. And then Tangerine, and Ladybug have their drag out go at because, Prince has convinced Tangerine that Ladybug was the one, that killed his brother. He didn't. But unfortunately, sometimes when you fight and guns are involved, those guns go off, and bad things happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, it wasn't even. Oh, it makes me so mad because you're super angry at Prince for putting this whole plan in motion. Because Tangerine is just
you just
really
hate her more and more the whole time.
You just don't like her more and more. The more, and then she wears pink. By golly, ugh. It's like a hate that you love and a love that you hate. Anyway, Tangerine ends up taking a bullet to the neck. Yeah, that's not something that's really survivable. But he thought his brother had passed, and so the Lemon and the father are in this bathroom. The father is like trying to bandage himself up because he is alive, but he's bleeding heavily. And Lemon, he had taken some of that sleeping powder that Ladybug had. It was in his Fuji bottle. He was drinking it and he fell asleep. And so that's why they thought he was dead. He had just been shot, but he was going to be okay. And so when he wakes up, of course, he sees that his brother's necklace had been put on him. And so he knows that his brother thought he was dead. And so he's like, oh my gosh, where's Tangerine? And Tangerine is dead at that point. And so then, of course, Lemon and Ladybug go at it because he's really mad. And of course, Ladybug's like, dude, it was kind of an accident. Like, I didn't know, and I didn't mean to kill him, but he was going to kill me. What am I supposed to do? And so you've got all of this happening, and they're getting closer and closer to Kyoto, where the Black Death. The White Death, is that what it's called?
the white death. Yeah, the White Death.
The White Death is waiting.
Is there that? Yeah, that's right. There's a final stop on the train, and we get the White Death. There, he's played by Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon is excellent. I don't know that I loved him at this, but we'll talk about that. And then so he is there. The Elder has also gotten onto the train at this point because he needs to go. He needs to check on his son and see what's happening because we find out a little bit of the backstory. The White Death, the Elder, they have some history going back there. It's a time for a final confrontation for them too. So basically, kind of everything is coming to a head here at this final stop on the train. And what happens in a good train heist film? That train gets set back into motion. It is slamming through the last gates, and everyone's kind of having their knockdown, drag out fight. So you have the White Death is fighting the Elder. Prince is there. They're fighting. Everyone is fighting. I don't know. It's all bad news. But eventually we get to the point where this train crashes. It's actually pretty great because Brad Pitt is like flying through the air and like this kind of. I don't know. It's like an uncanny valley sort of like a slow motion sort of thing. It's pretty humorous as they're going through, but the train crashes. Everyone is there. And we're finally met at our head. So I guess Prince is able to finally confront her father. And yeah.
Yeah, she's able. Well, it's interesting because she is counting on him to shoot her, and he doesn't. she's like, just do it, just kill me. And we're all like, please kill her because we want her to die. But we also know that it's with that weird weapon that she's rigged. And so he doesn't do it. He's like, nah, thanks, daughter. I won't forget this, and kind of pats her on the head. Really makes me mad. And then he walks off and she's like, wait a minute. No, you're not going to die. You're not going to try and shoot me. But he's fighting with the elder, and he's fighting with Ladybug, and he runs out of weapons. He I don't know, the sword that they were using gets cut, or he loses it somehow. He runs out of bullets with this other gun. So what does he do? He grabs the gun that she had rigged, and he tries to shoot Brad Pitt, and it explodes, and it takes off half his face. This is not for kids. We should probably have said it's not for kids. And so he dies, and all is right, because the prince is dead, Ladybug's alive, the elder's alive. Is the elder alive? I don't remember. I don't even remember.
I don't even remember. But yeah, moral of the story is, White Death is dead. Prince is there. You think Prince survives, but gets ran over by a truck full of tangerines.
That's right. That was the best.
Which is pretty great, and you get a little post-credit scene about how that came to be, is Lemon survives a fall off of the train and commandeers this tangerine truck. Very poetic end for Prince and Lemon there, which is pretty good. So that is kind of the gist of the story. It's real convoluted, so it's kind of hard to talk about. Hopefully we kept it mostly straight ish, but it's worthwhile to go and see how all of these pieces intertwine. So, Michaela, this movie was really fun. Really enjoyed seeing it. I loved kind of the dialogue. It was very snappy and witty. Brad Pitt was excellent. It was kind of this, like I say, kind of this reformed former assassin who's, wanting to talk about things and to be happy and, put your piece out into the world. So that was pretty great. But one of the things that I really liked is the way that it kind of structured the story. Like we said, there's a lot of moving parts here, so it does a really good job of introducing these people. You get this really cool like graphic that comes up in Japanese and in English text to tell everyone's name, and then you get kind of this flashback story, and those all looked really great. Particular, I like the kind of the flashback, where we're introduced to like the White Death and the Elder back in Japan as they're going, and kind of this criminal organization and the White Death's rising up. But it's like at this kind of temple kind of a thing, and there's like snow and fire, and it looked really great. But what about you, Michaela? Were there any kind of standout parts, or the way things looked, or any of the actors, or just what are some highlights from this thing? Because it was a good time.
Yeah, I thought the set direction was actually really good, because it showed the way in which it's filmed in the train was really cool. The outtakes of the train kind of going through the cities, and that was really beautiful. You see the beautiful, like the big mountain in the back, and it looks really cool. I think the editing for this, it was amazing, because if this podcast is any indication, it can get very complicated to talk about and to really understand kind of all of the interweavings of these characters and what their backstories were and what their motivations are. But because it was put together in such a beautiful way, and entertaining way, you understand while you're watching it, you're not confused. And at the end, it really makes you think about, certain interactions that the characters had, how they crafted that and edited that on the, and what got cutting room floor is amazing to think about to me, because this story could have been very differently if it was edited and crafted any other way. So hats off to David Leitch. A lot of people, when we were watching it and we left, a lot of people said this was very Tarantino-esque. I don't know if that was what he's going for. I don't know if he would find that as a compliment or not. But I will say that it was a really fun ride, and it was more heisty to me than the Tarantino stuff. It was kind of it very much felt like the action sequences were very much like Deadpool 2 and a little bit of John Wick, which is interesting because he was an executive producer for some of the John Wicks. Less gory, but to me, it really had a feel like the first Ocean's 11 in
Mm-hmm.
with, well, maybe not the first, I guess the second, the reboot of Ocean's 11 with Brad Pitt and George Clooney, because it was very smartly done.
Hmm.
And I really loved that about it.
Yeah, it set this stuff up really good, and I mentioned kind of in the flashbacks that those all looked really good, and they all had kind of really big scope, and then kind of just the stuff with the train I thought was excellent, and the way that the camera was moving around it, and the way they would have had to have done this, post production computers, but the way that the camera is like pulling like in and out of the trains, or seeing the characters like walking through the cars from like the outside of the train, or you're seeing a conversation of them sitting at the windows, and then it kind of pulls in to be alongside of them. I thought was really great. I could kind of see like the Tarantino parallels there, especially like, kind of in the way like that these criminals all get together in something like Reservoir Dogs, and that they're they all kind of hate each other and don't trust each other, but they're having like these conversations. So definitely some kind of parallels there, and it's action esque. The trailer might lead you to believe that it's going to be all action, but really there's just a couple of big action like set pieces, which are all really fun, and really well done. Especially when that drink cart gets pushed through, and he buys the sparkling water. I mean, that's really great. But yeah, I love the way that this looked and felt. It didn't feel long. It was 2 hours and 7 minutes, so the pacing of it was really good. I mean, there were a lot of moving pieces to address, but yeah, David Leitch did an excellent job. And one of the other things I wanted to bring up here on this thing, Michaela, that I thought was amazing. So this was written by, like I said, it was based on a book, but it was written by Zach Olkowicz. I don't know if I'm saying that right or not, but it looks like Zach has 3 writing credits so far to his name. He did a screenplay for the Netflix series Fear Street, which just came out last year. So this was like his second thing that's ever come out. You can't write dialogue like this that's that snappy and tight on your second try? I can barely write a sentence, Michaela. This is insane.
Well, he can, I guess, and he
He
did,
can.
but good for him. That's amazing. Well, now I have to go back and watch Fear Street because number one, I love that series from the 1990s, Christopher Pike, or no, sorry, R.L. Stein, amazing. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited about that. What is interesting to me now that you said that though is he's taken books, and because Fear Street was written, it was a series written by R.L. Stein.
Mm-hmm.
And this was also from a book. So I wonder if maybe that is something that is his sweet spot, is taking that and translating that from a book to the screen,
Mm-hmm.
which is no small feat. I mean, that's amazing. So I'm really excited now. I'm going to have to go and read the book because I really want to see how different it is. Because again, I don't know how well this would be in a book. I'm sure it's amazing, but this is something totally so visually pressing that
Mm-hmm.
it's I just think, I mean, you're right. Everybody did a great job on this, bringing this to literal life, because it's very in your face, but it's at the same time, even though it's kind of campy, it's not over the top. It's not like some of the scenes that this was likened to with like some of the Tarantino films like Kill Bill, where it's so bloody and so gory and so like paying homage to all like the really old samurai films. This
Mm-hmm.
is not like that. It's just the right amount.
That's
Not
right.
too much, not too little. It's just right.
Yeah, it all felt very kind of realistic, I guess, in that sense, in this kind of sensationalized Tokyo is this very vibrant, very sensationalized city, which I thought was really good and worked really well on the screen. So yeah, overall I really liked it. I mentioned it kind of as we were talking about it briefly. The White Death, played by Michael Shannon. I love Michael Shannon. I don't know that the White Death needed to be played by Michael Shannon. I don't know that it benefited by being Michael Shannon in any way, I guess, is maybe my
Yeah,
criticism on it. I don't know.
yeah, there was a cool moment when he opens his mask, because he's masked the entire time until the very end when he kind of shows up himself, right? And then we're like, oh, it's Michael Shannon. I'm a little confused why we picked Michael Shannon, for the reason that I think we probably could have picked someone of Japanese descent, and maybe Michael Shannon is, and we just don't know it. But that part felt very, I don't know.
Well, I think the White Death was supposed to have been Russian, I think.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right, because he had all those weird Russian tattoos when he at the beginning. Okay, that makes more sense now. I was like, why? I missed that. Okay. Still, I don't know. I mean, I don't know who else it could have been and done a better job, because of course Michael Shannon does a great job. And that scene where he's basically patting his daughter on the head, he does a great job of being a really awful chauvinist man. Because I just want to kill him. And so I'm real glad when he dies. I don't know. Yeah, I think, I don't know too if he had a lot to work with, because this character, we don't get to know what his motivations are. He's like the one villain that gets on this train that we really don't know why he was doing all of the things that he was doing. I mean, it turns out that he was the one who even organized his son's death. I mean, we don't know why he became this underworld guy in the first place. We know why he wanted everybody on that train to die, but we don't know why he, usurped the power of this mob boss, this Japanese mob boss, like 30 years prior. We don't really understand that, other than, he wanted the power.
Yeah.
So, nah.
Yeah. So it's like I said, it wasn't a low spot, because I Michael Shannon is great, but I think I don't know, like it didn't add anything for him being that character. I didn't think so. That was kind of my only real critique on it. But otherwise, I really enjoyed this, Michaela. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought that visually it looked great. I loved the dialogue on it, and then of course it's great at the very end of the film. We get was her name Maria, I think, shows up in the car, and it's Sandra Bullock, and I get to see them together on screen, kind of having their little banter actually in person, as kind of this train and town are exploding around them, which is pretty good. So that's Bullet Train in a nutshell. Hopefully it made any sort of sense, or at least maybe inspired you to go see it if you haven't seen it yet. But let us know if you have seen it and what you thought about it. And definitely let us know if you make a Bullet Train cocktail, or if you have any other good sake cocktails, because now we have a bottle of sake. And we'll use that for, making bullet trains, because we're going to make about 10,000 of those, but we want to definitely try out some more. So send those our way. You can take pictures and check out all that stuff. You can do it on Instagram and Twitter. It's at Drink the Movies, and on Facebook.com/Drink the Movies. If you want to see pictures of the bullet train we made, episode recaps, all that good stuff, you can do that on our website, which is www.drinkthemovies.com. And Michaela, if you are boarding the bullet train, you want to make sure you have a ticket. And if you are going to be listening to your favorite podcast, you want to make sure you leave them a review. Where can they do that?
You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Stitcher. We're on Good Pods. We've actually made top 100 podcasts on Good Pods 2 weeks in a row, which is super cool. Climbing the charts each time. So that's really awesome. We're so excited about the community that we've built. If you are liking what you're hearing, please subscribe. We do 2 drops a week. Please leave us a 5-star review. The more reviews we get, the more we can get the Drink the Movies love out there and share our love of movies and cocktails with the entire world.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. But for now, Michaela, I think, this train ride was a bit hectic. It was a good time, but, I'm tired. All this traveling has really done me in. All of these bullet train cocktails have really done me in. So I'm going to need to take a break, and we're going to need to pick a new movie and a new cocktail and talk to everyone next time on
Drink the Movies. Some conflicts require a gun. Just saying.